Storms hit the state of Oklahoma on Tuesday afternoon, but none bigger than the injury to quarterback John Mateer.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today over at FanDuel. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire and USA Today Sports. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports, and we're going to go through a little bit of a recruiting update. A lot of crystal balls flowing Oklahoma's way over the last few days. We'll discuss that in the third segment. In segment 2, we're going to talk about the SEC opponent schedule announcement that came down on Tuesday evening, but we got to start here, Jay. Soonersports.com breaking the big story of the day that John Mateer will be out for some time. We don't know exactly how much time. Apparently, he was injured against Auburn on a throw down the field sometime in the first quarter, it sounded like. Hurt his thumb bad enough that he's going to need surgery on Wednesday, and it will keep him out at least through the Kent State game, but likely beyond that.
Yeah, it sucks. As you can see, I'm traveling, and while I'm actually traveling, jumping from plane to plane and place to place, we get news that John Mateer is going to be down with thumb surgery. And so, yeah, the play in question, I actually have a picture of it here, is when he was throwing it here and Falk hit Falk's arm as he was trying to deflect the pass. It was a deep pass to Isaiah Satania. And in that play, of course, he overthrew him, but John was hurt. Now, this was early in the game. If I'm correct, this is like first quarter stuff. So John was that tough that he played the entire game like that. And I'm assuming that's why he was a little off on some of the play throws throughout the first half. But this was the crazy thing to me, John. He closed out the game going 16 for 17 on his completions, especially on that ending, going like perfect on that final drive to win the game. So, yeah, that injury obviously is going to be bothersome for him long term, but he was able to fight through it for the team and get the win. And that tells me that even though the timetable that's been given, like I've seen 5 different timetables, but I'm going to give you the 2 that to me feels like the most relevant. I've seen one timetable say he could be be back for the Texas game. I've seen one timetable that said he could be back for the South Carolina game. And I've also seen one that said he'll be back for Ole Miss. So I'm going to give you 3. John, I don't know which one's true. I don't know which one is true, which one's fake. We won't know until the surgery, which is going to be today. He's probably already in LA getting prepped for it, have the surgery with one of the world-renowned top hand surgeons out there. He's done surgery on Steph Curry, Drew Brees. So we'll know Wednesday what the actual timeline is based upon how the surgery goes. But sucks, man. Great way to start your day, right? Great way to go through your day, especially while traveling.
Yeah, so you come out of the Auburn win, and then this. Like, it's a gut punch. Really, it is. And it's
right in the belly button.
You go from having a guy that was leading the Heisman contender race right now to not having him available for anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 weeks, depending on how the surgery goes, how it heals up, how his rehabilitation goes, all of that. I mean, there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that go into this. It's not just a simple, this is the timeline, he's back at this point, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've seen setbacks with so many players over the years, not just at Oklahoma, everywhere, that you can't really definitively say, yes, he will definitely be back this game. You hope he is. We'll see.
Fingers and toes.
It's fortuitous. The only like bright side I can see out of this is that it happened with a bye week and then Kent State coming after that. So Michael Hawkins Jr. has already been named the starter for Kent State. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the entire bye week of first team reps. He'll get Kent State week, first team reps. And then if John Mateer is not going to be back for Texas week, he'll get all of that week with first team reps as well. So if an injury had to happen, man, this is the time, because you've got time to prepare Michael Hawkins Jr. to be your starter.
I mean, how about this, John? How about no injury happens, right?
I mean, obviously,
how about
no
none of
injury
it?
happening, Jay. That would be the dream.
No, I'm giving you
But
crap.
I live in a
More
world
so, but
in
you're
which
right.
the 2024 season existed and injuries happen.
Right, you're right, and you're right. The perfect timing for it would be now, especially with having the full week off and having Kent State the following week. So that's 2 weeks that, regardless of what the prognosis is after he has the surgery, you can really figure out what's next, right? And like you said, Texas game, Michael Hawkins will most likely be prepping for, if John is up to it, if he's back like in miracle in 12, 13 days, like some other quarterbacks have come back from thumb surgeries, if it's minor enough, maybe he is back and ready to go. And now the opposition has to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, not one, but 2. And I kind of would like that feeling, John. I would like the opportunity for them to have to prepare for 2. And then we go out there and John says, no, I'm playing in Red River because this is why I came here. I came here to be a part of that game. I'm in my home city, in my home area, right? I'm from the Dallas Metroplex, Little Elm, but I'm from Dallas Metroplex. I want to play in that game. And he goes out there and balls out. But yeah, no, this probably is the best time for us to have him down because, like you said, the timing is probably best. And I think that's probably why they went ahead and did this. Because honestly, I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't talk about him just kind of like toughing it out and playing the rest of the season.
I mean, that's possible, but Brent Venables said it. It's like, for his short-term and long-term future, we felt like this was the best decision. And listen, I appreciate Coach wanting to take care of his players. I don't want any varsity blues type situations where you got that coach, injecting the running back with the torn ACL in his knee, with the steroids and trying to keep him on the field. No, man, we got to take care of players. But now with Michael Hawkins Jr. stepping in as the starter, how do you feel about the offense moving forward? Because we haven't had a run game. The offense has looked pretty good in the passing game. You've had a lot of guys having some really strong performances. What's your thoughts on Michael Hawkins Jr. now stepping in?
I think Kent State game will tell us everything we need to know. If we can't figure out and really establish a run game in that game, we're cooked. Period. That's exactly how I feel. But I think Michael Hawkins can go out there and make that happen. He has the dual threat capabilities, just like John Mateer. We've seen it last year. He went on the road and helped win the game against Auburn. So he's been able to contribute and do a lot of stuff as a quarterback. So I'm not concerned about his capabilities. The question is going to be how Ben Arbuckle uses him, because I don't feel like the Temple game's a good measuring stick to how he can play, right? Yeah. I think it's a bad one, right? I agree. I think it's a terrible one because I don't feel like they were really just trying to leverage him. Now, I honestly am asking the question why he even played in that game, but at the same time, it's because I do feel like they're going to try to preserve his red shirt, but I also believe that they were like, we need to get you some reps just in case, because we're going to have to turn to you as the number 2 no matter what. And so if that being the case, I think that he's capable. Like I said, he's done it. I don't think he has the yips. I just need him to go out there and get comfortable, get his feet set, launch it, because he has the arm ability. We've seen him do it. I mean, he chunked that deep ball to J.J. Hester against Auburn, and that was a perfect dime to a dude in stride. Yep. So we know he can do it. He just needs to go out there and do it. And I actually have faith that he can. Kent State's, like I said, is going to tell us everything about his confidence going forward.
I understand why people want to look at last year and try to extrapolate that, hey, this is who Michael Hawkins Jr. is the quarterback we saw against Navy or against South Carolina, that, he turned the ball over on each of the first 3 possessions. But let's just remember the context in which the true freshman quarterback was playing. He was playing with the worst Oklahoma offense that we've seen since 1998. Statistically, that is a fact. So if we're going to judge a quarterback based on that kind of a season in those circumstances, then okay, you can do that. But maybe, just maybe, he's gotten better. maybe, just maybe, this offense is actually better because you've got Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania and Keontae Lewis, and Giovanni Gibson will be back soon. You've got running backs that are capable, even if you haven't run the ball well. You've got an offensive line that can actually pass protect, which wasn't the case last year, which was part of the reason that the dude turned the ball over on each of the first 3 possessions against South Carolina and didn't look great against Texas and had some moments against Navy where the offense didn't really work. It's because they couldn't protect the quarterback against anybody. They were terrible at pass pro team last year.
Now this line is great at pass pro.
Right. So
great.
I get why you want to equate last year's effectiveness and results to this year because it's the same quarterback, right? But it's not the same team around him. Not even close. It's not the same offensive coordinator situation. Not even close. Ben Arbuckle has taken Cole and pressured it into diamonds at a number of places. Western Kentucky, Washington State, now at Oklahoma. He's going to do the same thing. Remember, John Mateer was not this 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. Bailey Zapp wasn't either. But they produce under Ben Arbuckle, and I expect Michael Hawkins Jr. to do the same. Let's talk schedules, Jay. Let's talk about the future of Oklahoma in the SEC. We got 26, 27, 28, and 29 schedules, or at least opponents, available to us now. We'll discuss that coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
Mazda Craft Cars, for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can think or link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. If you're looking to find ways that you can save and cut some different spending habits that you might have, well, Monarch actually is able to hone in on some of your spending habits and let you see a clearer picture of where you might be able to cut and save more. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, we got future opponents for the next 4 years from the SEC. My goodness. Not only did they give us our permanent rivals, but they just went ahead and laid it all out there.
Yeah, they provided us, of course. So we talked about this on, what was that, Tuesday's episode. They leaked out on Monday the 3 schools that we'll have as our permanents for the next 4 years, which of course is Texas, Missouri, and then Ole Miss, which was a fascinating choice because
fun little surprise.
It's a fun little surprise, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I like as I mentioned before, going to the Grove is going to be fun for us to do again. But then they dropped the actual schedule, John, and not the full schedule, just who the opponents are. And I noticed something about it. Let's take a gander at this. We don't travel to Ole Miss next season. As Ole Miss is playing here this year, they'll also play here again next year, which is very interesting. But then the other home games will be Kentucky, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. So we'll get some old school Big 12 action here, and we'll travel to Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Levy game, and then we'll travel to Missouri as Texas is always neutral site. So I thought that was a little bit intriguing that we're not going to actually go to Ole Miss this next year when they're coming here this year.
Yeah, it's different.
Just back-to-back road games for them against us. It's just,
yeah,
it felt like somebody didn't pay attention to that.
Well, it's probably just trying to make it all work somehow,
Fair.
And, the scheduling thing, it's complicated. It's a convoluted mess. I mean, look at the really ACC. Is. They're going to go to a 9-game conference schedule, but one team gets to play 8 conference games each year because, again, the ACC is a mess and they can't get to an even number. But as they hold out hope that Notre Dame will be their 18th team one day, which will never happen. But, yeah, I mean, that part's weird, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. I know Ole Miss fans probably aren't going to love it that they have to go to Norman back to back, but it'll all even out in the end. And we go back to Oxford in 28. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So as we look at the schedule,
actually we go in 27.
So we go in 27, and then
it's this one. Yeah, it's here 27. We go to Oxford. That's when we'll travel there, and we go to Vanderbilt. Now this is what's interesting too is because we'll play every team at least once every 4 years, twice every 4 years, one at home, one on the road. The interesting thing is you don't play the same teams back-to-back years, so that's like completely changed around. Like so, with us having Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, and then Mississippi State on the road. Next year at home we'll have Alabama, Arkansas, and Tennessee, which is like, but we don't even play Georgia in 27. We don't play Georgia again until 28 when they come to the house. So it's basically those same 4 teams come back to our house in 28 with Ole Miss being back on the home slate again, which it's just weird how they're doing it. But at the same time, I mean, I know it works. Like you said, it's a very complicated thing. It's just I would have thought that because of how this season is gone, you wouldn't try to make back-to-backs. I need to go look at the other teams and see if they've got that going as well.
Yeah, it's odd. And again, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it happen very smoothly, but I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a mess because, again, Ole Miss being a surprise permanent opponent, it kind of throws some things off, but it was never going to be perfect all the way around. But yeah, it is interesting that Georgia, Mississippi State, Florida, it's like in every other year. And maybe that's just the way that they are going to plan to do things like that. And where you're not doing home and home, but you're going to do home. You're going to play the next, or you're going to play one group, and then you're going to play the next group, and then you're going to play that other group, and then you're going to play the next group. And I don't know. It's interesting. And I see people already talking about, well, it's an easier schedule. It's a tougher schedule. It's an SEC schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Every schedule is going to be tough. As we've seen in our first year and a half in the SEC, the Kentuckys of the world, the Vanderbilts of the world can climb up and beat any of the upper half teams any given Saturday. Parity is here in college football. It's especially here in the SEC. And you're going to have tough matchups regardless of where you sit in the conference. If you're the Georgia or Alabamas, you're going to be put in some dogfights by the teams that you don't expect. Mississippi State this year, they're a better team. They didn't win a conference game last year. They're a team that nobody's necessarily excited to have on their schedule this year. So it's just what a conference schedule looks like right now could feel totally different by the time we get to it in 2027, but especially by 2029.
Yeah. I agree with you on that, especially with just how teams, depending on how they recruit and how they perform. Yeah. Like Vanderbilt in 27 is going to be interesting because we'll go to Nashville. I love going to Nashville. Nashville's a great town to go visit. But then in 29, you'll get Vandy in town. But that one to me is a very interesting one too. We don't see Auburn again until 2020. What's that? 2027 is when we go back to Auburn, and in 2029 they come back here. So they have 4 years in between the next time they're actually back in Norman. That's going to be interesting. But if you look at these, John, which one of these intrigues you the most as far as the home slates? Which one do you which year are you the most interested in?
Let's see. The 26 year, it's not all that exciting to me. With Kentucky, South Carolina, Texas A&M, like that doesn't really move the needle. The road slate's really intriguing with, going to Gainesville, going to Athens, and then,
Stark Vegas, baby.
Stark Vegas. I mean, that one's kind of fun. I'm thinking it's maybe the 2020, the 2027 season, where you get Mizzou, Bama, Arkansas, and Tennessee. To me, that is probably the best home slate of the group. I mean, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss in 28 is pretty good too. So it's either 2027 or 2028 to me.
2029 to me, it goes up there as well. But I think I do like the 20, what's that, 20s, the 20, no, not 20s, 28 probably is the one for me with Georgia and Florida coming to town. Yeah. You're getting both of them. Of course, Ole Miss once again, and then Mississippi State. So if Lebby is still there, he's make a return to Norman.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I mean, if Diego Pavia were still the quarterback for Vanderbilt in 2029, I'd be really excited about that one, but he won't be. Maybe he's going to be coaching, and then that would create some intriguing dialogue that would happen in game week. But
good point.
I love the Ole Miss is going to be part of Oklahoma's permanent schedule, just because Lane Kiffin is such an interesting cat. I think him and Brent Venables, they should do like a panel kind of press conference with those two, because I think they'd have a lot of fun together. Like Brent Venables is, I mean, yes, he's an intense coach, but I think with a guy like Lane Kiffin, they'd probably just have a lot of fun talking ball.
I don't know. I don't think that would work personally. I think that BV's just a little too intense for that. And Lane likes to go. Lane will joke probably a lot more than probably BV's here for.
Maybe. All right, we got a bunch of recruiting updates coming out of a big win over Auburn. Some things moved the needle for several Oklahoma Sooners targets in the 2026 and 2027 class. We'll discuss all that coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. As you can see, I'm always traveling, and one thing I always do is when I get the chance, I jump on FanDuel and take some action for some of my favorite teams. So I'm a big Buccaneers fans and Baker Mayfield and them. So I can jump in there and, get my Sundays a little bit more spicy as I see how they perform. So it's quick and easy. It's a very easy way to get in and get the energy going on those Sundays. So especially even on Saturdays too with Oklahoma. So if you're ready to play, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Several significant recruiting things to touch on here, Jay. Let's start with this one. With the Mike Gundy firing, there are several guys that were Oklahoma targets that ended up committing to Oklahoma State. The one that I think is most intriguing is Kaiden Jones, the running back. He's a OU legacy. Somebody that Oklahoma was in hot pursuit of. He ended up choosing Oklahoma State. What do you think about that one? Is that a guy, to me, that's a guy that I would re-pursue now that he's decommitted from Oklahoma State, because he's just a dynamic player, man.
Yeah, I don't know if Oklahoma's going to push for that one. I think that the Zeffin pickup was kind of we've got a lot of young backs. And now with Tory Blaylock basically emerging, we're going to kind of stick with our young backs and go from there. And I can totally see us in 27 loading up on running backs, plus trying to hit the portal one more time. I mean, right now the Jaden Ott experiment is not working out like we want, but we still got a bunch of backs, in the backfield. You'll still have Xavier Robinson, Taylor Tatum, Tory Blaylock. And so I'm sensing that they're probably going to hit the portal to try to pick up a couple more. You still got Gabe Sawchuk. He's still here. Heck, you never know. Gavin might transfer back if they repair that relationship. I don't know. And I say that because if Gabe is still here and Gavin ended up leaving, I don't think Gavin left because he wanted to, but I digress. I don't know if they will re-pursue that situation. It felt like Oklahoma backed away and then started to pursue other players. I know they had some other running backs in town during I think it was the Michigan game. So there's a chance that they have somebody on the docket they may go after. I just don't know if it's going to be Kaiden Jones.
Sticking in the 2026 class, Daniel McMorris, the Norman North prospect, who was initially committed to Minnesota, decommitted late in the summer, and has been one of the hot targets in the 2026 recruiting class with just a few months until the early signing period. Texas Tech was making a big push. Well, now the projections seem to be favoring the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah. The OK prep agenda appears to be making a return back, right? You get yourself
welcome back, Jay.
Going after a Daniel McMorris, who I think is going to be. I think he's going to be. I think he's a good option, John. I think he's one that makes sense for what Oklahoma is trying to do. Get some players in the trenches, plus guys here, right? Get some Oklahoma guys. And I know that that's kind of a key thing for this staff. So I like the idea of it. I wonder if Tech backed away because they think that Oklahoma, once they do the offer, that he's gone. Kind of curious what that means.
Yeah, good size, 6'5". He's an offensive tackle prospect. You've already got a really nice offensive line class. But where you land with Deacon Schmidt, is he going to be a tackle? Will he be a guard? At Oklahoma? That kind of determines your pursuit of McMorris a little bit. If you feel like Schmidt is a guard, you probably need to make sure you land McMorris so you have some offensive tackle depth coming in the 2026 class. Sticking with 26, Jacob Curry, linebacker out of Florida, now it sounds like is trending towards the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, that one. He's a top 500 player, Rivals 4-star. And I know that Oklahoma has been looking at him for a bit, especially after he decommitted from Northwestern. I like him. He's a violent linebacker. Fits the perfect Brent Venables mold.
He's a Brent Venables linebacker.
He really is a Brent Venables linebacker. And because of that, if they can pull this off, I think he'd be a good one. I mean, he's got some good offers. Ohio State was after him, Florida State, right? You've got Louisville, you've got Iowa State, who's always putting out some pretty good linebackers, Notre Dame, Miami. So some of your big heavy hitters in the linebacker recruiting game, they're intrigued. I like Jacob Curry. I'm very intrigued by him. Like I said, he's a Brent Venables linebacker. Yeah. So sign me up.
He's another fast and physical dude that you can add to, like the Jandro brothers and Ja'Cory Smith. Like, it's a really intriguing like linebacker cheetah class that Brent Venables is putting together with all these guys that are like hybrids. So it's pretty fascinating, man. Fast, physical, athletic dudes that might be flying under the radar, but get them on campus, get them strength and conditioned, and you might be able to find a little bit something. Now, moving to the 2027 recruiting class, Jay, several prospects trending towards the Oklahoma Sooners after their big win over Auburn. Let's start with Crew Jones. He's a 4-star edge prospect that good size, good length, trending towards OU right now.
Yeah, number 33 on ESPN. So he's like a borderline 5-star. He's right there on the edge of that for them. Talent reminds you a lot of Jake Krell, 6'4", 2 1/4. So he's a little bit taller, maybe a smidget, but he has the skill set that if he continues to develop, man, he gonna be something. And you've got the big schools after him. You've got Tennessee, A&M, Ohio State, Oregon. And if Oklahoma can seal the deal, man, Chavis is on a heater. But our Mason Thomas's play with Taylor Wine also getting the sack and the way this line is playing, recruiting in the trenches should not be hard whatsoever.
Yeah, Taylor Wine currently leads Oklahoma in total pressures according to Pro Football Focus. And if you're looking to develop, maybe Oklahoma is the right place for you. So yeah, Crew Jones is a very intriguing prospect, 6'4", 225, already has really good size on him as a junior in high school he's in his junior year. So still even has more time to grow and develop and get stronger and faster and all that jazz. So the player that Oklahoma is trending for now could even be bigger, stronger, faster by the time he gets on campus in a year and a half. Another one that Oklahoma is trending for, and this is Jackson Roper, coming out of Cherry Creek, Colorado, a 6'4", 290 interior offensive line prospect. He's considered a 4-star. According to ESPN, the number 6 interior offensive line prospect in the class and the number 1 prospect in Colorado.
Another a Deacon Schmidt special right there. You're going to get going just shop in Colorado, man. You got Josh Bates out of Colorado. You're getting Deacon, and now going after Roper. That's a pretty big one, man. Going up to the state of Colorado and snatching up players, especially with the work that Coach Prime has been doing up there with that program. It's pretty good to be able to go in there and take the players like that. So we trying to snatch chains, and I'm actually impressed that Oklahoma's able to do that.
Yeah, and he's got Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, Ohio State, and a number of other big-time programs coming after him. So check that offer sheet. Like, he may be only considered a 4-star prospect, but that's a 5-star offer sheet.
Very much.
He's a national prospect, a national recruit. And Oklahoma right now is leading, at least based on projections and predictions and all that, for Jackson Roper. The other one, another offensive line prospect to look at, 6'4" offensive tackle out of Bixby, Oklahoma, 4-star prospect in the class, the number 7 offensive tackle in the Rivals industry ranking, the number 1 offensive tackle according to ESPN, trending towards Oklahoma right now.
Okay, Oklahoma out here, okay prep agenda. Once
Cooking.
again, they're cooking. Look, I heard that Oklahoma values the 2027 class in the state a lot higher than 26. And if that is true, then I expect a lot of the OK preps in the state for that class to end up here at Oklahoma. It feels like that's what they're going for. I mean, like I said, he's the number 1 tackle, to ESPN. And between him and Cooper Hackett, who you could try to snatch up as well, could be something interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Hackett has been very prevalent at Oklahoma home games this year. I wouldn't say it's completely off the table for Oklahoma to end up getting a flip there. Again, no inside knowledge, nothing like that, but the dude he's an OU fan. It's going to help in your recruiting cause. Last thing we're going to touch on, Jalen Brewster, the 5-star defensive tackle prospect out of Cedar Hill, Texas, set his commitment date for October 4th. This is a big-time recruiting battle that the Oklahoma Sooners in. He hasn't dropped a top 5 or a top 3. No, he's just, everybody's coming after me. I'm listening to everybody, but Oklahoma is in a really good position here, especially considering the way that their defensive tackle group is playing right now. It's putting Todd Bates at the forefront of a lot of these recruiting battles.
It does. And I'm curious about what school is pushing for him to commit now rather than sometime next year. As a 27, I feel like it's a little early, but I'm wondering if there's another school that's pushing for him to go ahead and get it done. I thought that was interesting that it's going to happen so quickly. I don't know if that's in our favor, but at the same time, like you said, with the way that our line has been performing, maybe he looked at that and said, yeah, get me in there. And I know that they're going to continue to do it all season long regardless.
Yeah, I'm ready to lock in. And again, this is a guy that has everybody coming after him, whether it's big money schools like Texas Tech, SMU, or the programs that put together good defensive lines like Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio State, whatever it is. He's got a litany of offers, and pretty much everybody in the country wants this kid. Here's hoping Oklahoma is able to land that commitment. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure you follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, for more college football and Oklahoma Sooners coverage. You can follow me at John 9 Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.
Can't believe we're already talking 27. It's crazy. The year is
Kinda
flown
early.
by.